Moving halfway around the world to start a new life seems drastic, but if you genuinely believed it was the best option for your young family, you might be tempted. In 2013, the Randall family spent a week in Australia to see if it could offer the life they were desperate for. Today, we'll find out just what happened next. 2 years ago, the Randalls were struggling to balance work and family life.
We work constantly. At the minute, we just feel like two single parents just living under the same roof.
Gemma believed Australia could be the answer, and a week down under didn't disappoint.
I'm absolutely speechless.
But the thought of leaving loved ones left her torn.
We could have an okay life here, or we can go over there and just break people's hearts.
Today, we'll find out where the family are now.
I don't regret anything, and I don't think there's any doubts in our mind that we've made the right decision.
Thanks to one of the lowest population densities in the world, it's no surprise so many Brits flock to Australian shores every year in search of a better life. Today, the country has over 1 million UK-born residents. But it doesn't work out for everyone. For some, the pull of home is too much, and many return to the UK with their dream in tatters. 2 years ago, the Randalls faced a massive dilemma. While Mum Gemma believed Australia could offer her family the time together they were desperate for, husband Chris feared abandoning their life in the UK was too big a risk. At the end of a week sampling everything Aussie living had to offer, the family faced a life-changing decision. Today, 2 years later, we'll discover where the Randalls now call home. The family's original journey to Adelaide took them 10,000 miles from home. 26 hours in the air had given Gemma plenty of time to think through the enormity of the choice ahead.
I think it's just made me realise how far we are from home.
But it hadn't put her off.
I'm excited. I just want to get going and see what it's all about and hope that it's everything that I think it's going to be.
Chris, however, was less enthusiastic.
I'm a bit nervous that Gemma's like, I'd say, got real high expectations, and that you might find out that it's not quite what we want or what you think it's going to be. So we'll see.
Gemma had just 1 week to quell Chris's doubts, or her sunshine dream would be gone forever.
I feel the heat.
In 2013, home for the Randalls was Aldridge in the West Midlands. Dad, Chris, lived with Maddie, then aged 3, wife Gemma, and Oliver, who was nearly 2. The desire to move down under had been a burning passion ever since the couple first got together.
When me and Chris met 8 years ago, we both said how much we'd love to go to Australia, and what started as we'd love to go to Australia turned into how much we'd love to live in Australia.
Then we got married, and we kind of settled down, and we had our children, and obviously while they were sort of so small, we didn't really feel that that was the time to be looking into it.
But working all hours to support their young family was taking its toll.
We don't have time to spend as a family at the moment. I mean, even to the point of sitting down and watching a film together, we just do not have the time to be able to do anything like that, and it's sad.
We're pushed so much in this country and driven by goals and targets, rushing here, there and everywhere all the time.
For Gemma, Australia was the obvious solution.
I don't seem to have 100 million mile an hour pace of life over there. Everything seems to just be a bit more chilled out, and that massively appeals to me.
But while Chris agreed things had to change, he was reluctant to leave the job he loved.
Currently working in the biggest school in the UK.
As well as teaching PE, Chris was head of house to 450 pupils.
I do really enjoy the pastoral side. That is the biggest part of my job, which I do find quite rewarding.
Gemma knew getting him to start again would be a challenge.
For him to give that up and go over there and not enjoy his job would make me feel awful.
But she felt moving was a sacrifice worth making if it would allow them to spend more time with their children.
We didn't have children for other people to bring them up. You know, that's not what we want. We want that family time.
Gaining more time with Maddie and Oliver, though, would mean taking them away from loving grandparents.
It has caused quite a lot of upset, really. In particular, Gemma's mum has really took the news really badly, you know, and it has hit her really hard.
We could stay here, we could have a really, you know, an okay life here and make my mum and dad happy, or we can go over there and break. Just break people's hearts, but give the kids a better life.
Gemma was torn. Getting her dream life would mean upsetting her parents.
It is tough, but we've got to understand that we're doing it for good reasons. We want a better life and we want a better life for our kids.
I can't look back in 10 years and think, what if we'd have given it a go and possibly been able to have a better life over there. To me, it's worth the risk giving that a go.
For their trial week, the Randalls stayed in Glandore, a well-established suburb 15 minutes from Adelaide city centre. Their temporary home was this 3-bedroom cottage, and Gemma's first impressions were positive.
It's really good size. I
What have you
love
found?
the high ceilings. But it's everything we need. It's perfect for a week.
They'd only just arrived, and Chris was already concerned about his work prospects.
We've driven past a couple of schools on the way in. They look very different, and so I'm a little bit nervous about it, really.
But Gemma was looking on the bright side.
The sun's shining and, you know, we can't wait to get to the beach and have a look round. And we've only come from the airport to the house and already I can see the benefits from us spending that time together.
I think Gemma's really excited about the week ahead. I think she's very much certain that it's going to be for us. However, like I say, I'm a bit more sceptical really at the moment, a bit more sort of dubious.
It looked like Dad would need some serious convincing if Australia was to become the family's home for good. Back in the UK, the Randalls were living in a modern 3-bedroom semi-detached house in Aldridge in the West Midlands. They'd set themselves a budget of £300,000 for a home down under, and one thing was definitely on the wish list.
4th bedroom is vitally important because we want people to come and stop with us.
That definitely is the deal breaker for me if we can't afford that 4th bedroom.
So that the house is a big thing, and I think if we don't get the right house, then it will certainly put me off moving. Yeah, definitely.
We showed the couple 3 properties in the Adelaide area based on what they wanted and what they could afford. Their search began in Mount Barker in the Adelaide Hills, a thriving community 23 miles east of Adelaide. Good transport links to the city and plenty of nearby facilities for young families meant it should have been the ideal location for the Randalls. With 4 bedrooms, this house could have been perfect for them too, and Gemma was impressed before she was even out of the car.
Wow! Oh, wow! Look at this! Wow! Go on then, you go first. Oh my god! Oh my god, this is amazing!
Just come back for a minute, mate.
Oh my goodness, who's... Oh, it's gonna fall to the bedroom!
Gemma was already sold.
Can we move in now?
Depends if we can afford it.
But Chris had his sensible hat on.
It's only too exciting in case it's too expensive.
Stop being so practical.
Yeah, but it's right though, isn't it?
I could live in this wardrobe. Oh my god, they've got a beauty room. Is this house just made for us?
Gemma was on a real high with this house.
Oh my god! I'm absolutely speechless.
That's what we want to know, isn't it? Don't it? Huh?
I cannot believe that we could potentially live somewhere like this.
You could do in England if you can afford it.
He may have been playing it safe, but even Chris was enthused by what lay outside.
Oh, look at this! Look, you've got your own bar!
So you have your own bar, home barbecue. Job's a good one.
I love it!
The house had been a massive hit.
I'd move in now. I would. I'd sell everything and live in this house.
Well, the location's perfect, it's nice and quiet. I think it's worth moving for this if you can afford it.
But was it within reach of the couple's £300,000 budget?
Okay, should we have a look?
Yeah, come on. Okay. That's expensive, isn't it?
It was £45,000 over budget, but Gemma wasn't giving up just yet.
This is 345, but that's it.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
haven't got to spend any more, whereas we might get a house that's 100 grand cheaper, but have to spend 50 on it.
The house could have been perfect for the Randalls, but it would have meant stretching their budget. Property number 2 was also in Mount Barker. This relatively new house backed onto a communal area perfect for spending family time together and had the important 4th bedroom. But did it have the wow factor of the first house?
You don't like it, do you?
No, I do. I am feeling a little bit underwhelmed here. But if I'd have been here first, this would have been, wow, this is fantastic.
I think this is more realistic.
Yes.
We might be able to afford.
Chris was looking at the positive side, and it didn't take long for Gemma to come round too.
No.
Oh,
right, wow. Okay, this has the wow factor.
That's better, isn't it?
Yes. Ah, the 4th bedroom. God, this is a big room for
See, that's got 4
bedrooms.
bedrooms then, hasn't it? Which is good.
Yeah, but they're
Wardrobes.
4 double bedrooms.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
That meant plenty of room for all the family and overseas visitors, and the outside area went down well too.
I do like having a deck.
This is lovely.
Yeah, it is nice.
Despite this shaky start, Gemma had really warmed to this house.
Coming here now, I think this is more of an us house and a
It's
more
a
realistic
family home,
house.
isn't it? It's,
Yeah.
It's nice.
It looked like Maddie and Oliver had already settled in, but was this somewhere the Randalls could afford to call home with their £300,000 budget?
I still think it's the top end of our budget, but I think it might just be within budget.
Ready?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see.
Ah.
Bang in the middle of
That was well within budget.
That's more realistic.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference.
Yeah. And it's got that 4th bedroom.
Yeah.
I
Sounds
like.
promising.
Yes.
It was a great result, and there was still one property to go. The final house was in Littlehampton, a small family-friendly village with a country feel, just a 10-minute drive away from the larger shops and facilities of Mount Barker. This spacious house had the required 4th bedroom, but what did Gemma make of its more traditional feel?
It's quite old-fashioned, isn't it?
Yeah, it
It's
is.
quite dated.
It is.
Just got to decide if we want to take on that challenge, because this is a big house. It's very grand, it's a grand house, and it could be beautiful, this house could.
But for now, the decor left a lot to be desired.
Oh, God, no! Oh, this is just the most hideous room, isn't it?
Oh no, the room's nice. It's just...
Who
the
would
furniture, isn't
have
it?
furniture like this? Surely this was gone in the 80s.
And outdoors, things didn't get any better.
I feel a bit isolated up here, and
It's a bit further out, isn't it?
yeah, not what we want for
Yeah.
the kids. I think with a 3 and a 1 year old and the fact that we're going to have so much upheaval moving here, the last thing that we need is a house that needs
A lot of
work doing
yeah.
to it.
Neither Gemma nor Chris fancied this house as a home. But did the price increase its appeal? Their budget was £300,000.
Obviously completely different, isn't it, to the last two?
Do you have a look?
Yeah, go on then, if you're ready.
What? Oh Oh my God! Oh, I would not pay that for
No,
this
really,
house.
that's really shocked me, actually.
We don't want a house to do up. We want to come and have it done for us
finished,
already, modern. It's confirmed what we wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It looked like this house was a definite no. The day had started well, with a home which wowed both Gemma and Chris, but had a price tag to match. Property number 2 was a slow starter, but they soon warmed to it, and it was within budget. Neither of them were sold on the final house, and the price left them stunned. So, when it came to property, did they vote for Australia or the UK?
Based on the houses that we've seen in Australia, our vote goes to... Australia! I think the first 2 houses just showed me that we really could have what I dream of in Australia for us. I'm very happy.
I'm surprised, actually. I wasn't sure if you would as well. It shocked me. So I get the job now.
A yes vote for Oz was a great start for Gemma's dream of a new life down under. But she still had a lot of work to do if she was to get Chris over his worries about work prospects. Would an Aussie-style day out remind Chris of what the move was all about? Spending more time together as a family. The Randalls spent the day at Gorge Wildlife Park.
We just don't get the time to do anything like this at home. We might have the odd Sunday together, you know, 1 day, 2 days, every month.
I don't think you can compare the life here that you can back in the UK. You know, it's different world, and I just think this is what I wanted for my children.
While the day was a reminder for Gemma as to just how desperate she was for more time with her family, Chris still had concerns.
It's just whether, again, we can afford to provide a good lifestyle over here for the children. A lot is kind of riding still a little bit on convincing me in terms of whether it's actually going to be worthwhile moving over here financially.
Chris and Gemma met up with the Corbetts, a British family who'd emigrated to Australia 2 years previously, and were keen to ask how their life had changed down under.
We talk about living back in Britain as basically like a half-life. You get such an extra amount of living time because of the weather is so much better. We'd be on the beach until 6, half 6 or whatever, and then, you know, go home and you've had that family time. It's just a completely different way of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
It just sounds like everything that we want as well for our family. Sorry.
Gemma was overcome at the thought of how much better their lives could be in Australia.
In the last 3 days, me and Chris have seen each other more than we have since Christmas, which is ridiculous. It is, you know, the 4 of us, this is what we want from Australia, this is why we want to move here, so that we can be a family.
It had been a day of simple pleasures, but one which had driven home just why Gemma desperately wanted to move her young family to Australia. When it came to the vote, though, did Chris agree?
Australia!
Yes, Oliver chose it too.
Maddie, why did you choose Australia? Kangaroos. The kangaroos. I think that it is definitely what we want out of our life in Australia.
It's been a great day together as a family, which we don't get the chance to do back in the UK.
Chris's second vote for Oz was another step in the right direction for Gemma. But if they were to make the move, it was crucial his job concerns were put to rest. Chris was the main visa applicant. Back in the UK, he was a teacher and head of house in a large inner-city school in Birmingham. It was a career he'd worked hard to build.
It's taken me 8 years to get to that position that I'm in now. I think if we did go and we came back again, I don't think I'd walk into a job which is the equivalent of what I've got now.
Gemma knew Chris getting the right job down under would be key to keeping her dream on track.
I'm hoping that he will find as an equally enjoyable job, and that he will realise that it was the right thing to do.
To find out if his career concerns could be laid to rest, we arranged for Chris to visit Westminster Private School in Adelaide, where he met Principal Steve Bousfield.
Would my qualifications from England transfer straight over directly to Australia?
Well,
or would
they may do. The chances are they would.
Right.
We have a large number of teachers who've arrived here from the UK and we employ them directly.
Right.
So we have a number of people who've moved straight in here.
Well, that sounded promising, but would Chris be able to continue with the pastoral role he loved?
In the private schools we put a great emphasis upon the pastoral care. So we do expect the heads of house to have a really close relationship with those students.
Would it be a case that I could move straight over here and apply for a head of house job, or is it tend to be that you
Probably
work
not. We would tend to appoint our heads of houses from within,
Okay.
because we get to know them and we know the sort of students they're able to work with and be most effective with.
It wasn't great news, but could his potential salary lessen the blow of losing a head of house position?
What kind of salary would I be looking at earning over here?
Would be in the region of around 62,000 British pounds per year.
It's a bit more than what I thought.
In fact, that was almost £20,000 more than Chris was earning in the UK. A job in Australia may have meant putting his pastoral role on hold, but that could have meant more time at home. So had he heard enough to give up the position he'd worked so hard for?
Well, based on my work experience today, I've decided to vote for... Australia.
It was time to share the good news with Gemma.
It was really good, really different.
Good different.
Yeah.
What did
really
they say about
interesting.
your pastoral stuff?
I wouldn't be able to go straight into a job with that. But the positive was that I'll probably earn more money as well over here.
Oh, I'm really pleased.
It was really good. I mean, if there was a job there, I'd apply for that straight away.
Really?
Yeah.
Chris's earning prospects meant a new life in Australia for the family could have been a step closer. But for the finances to work down under, it was crucial they got the right price for their home in the UK. Chris believed their house was worth £210,000, but did two local estate agents agree?
It's a nice bright room, contemporary colours, and a nice modern fireplace. It's a nice bright modern room. Good for a child also. Get a double bed in here as a second bedroom.
Family bathroom, fully tiled with a white suite.
That's a nice light, bright master bedroom and a nice view of the back garden. Excellent. All in all, very saleable property. My valuation, open market 190,000, for a quick sale 180,000.
I would value the property at around about £200,000. If we were looking for a quick sale, probably 185 to 190 is probably more nearer the mark.
It's quite a lot less than, isn't it, really, than what was hoping for?
A valuation of £20,000 less than they'd hoped for was a huge blow and had put a move in real jeopardy. Gemma and Chris needed to figure out if there was any way the finances could work down under. To help, we provided a comparison of costs between the UK and Australia. They started with a weekly shop.
Cannot believe the shampoo and conditioner.
That's a massive difference, isn't it?
It's more than double.
So £73, not £74 extra a week here and back in the UK, which is quite a big difference.
In fact, it was a difference of almost £4,000 a year on food shopping alone, and that wasn't the only shock. Basing their figures on the cheapest property they saw, their monthly mortgage in Australia would have been £1,700.
That is a lot more than we pay at the minute on our mortgage, isn't it?
We expect 3 times more. It's a big difference in price.
Chris could earn more in Australia than the UK, though.
It's a difference of £10,795.
But would it be enough to make the dream life affordable?
What's the difference?
The difference would be £1,704.
So we're £1,704 worse off a
Over
year.
here.
in Australia.
Yeah.
Gemma was devastated by the figures, but there was still a glimmer of hope as Chris spotted some potential savings.
You know, just from the few days we spent over here so far, I think we could cut back so much easier. I know we've put car loans and things in and bits and pieces, but
We're hoping to have paid those
we'd have
off.
had them paid off before we come, wouldn't we? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a big difference straight away. It's like 400 quid. I was a bit nervous when we first started with the calculations and stuff and working things out, and yeah, it's pretty positive now, isn't it?
Despite not looking good on paper, some tightening of belts could mean the figures weren't as bad as they'd feared. So when it came to finances, did the couple choose the UK or Australia?
Our vote goes to... $50-50.
I'm going to say Australia.
I'm really surprised that we went that way round. I thought that I'd vote for Australia and you'd be the 50-50.
I was really close to doing 50-50. I was. I'm convinced we can make massive cutbacks and make it feasible to move over here. I really do.
Very pleased.
With a third vote for Oz, it looked like Chris was still on board with Gemma's dream, but she wasn't home and dry just yet. Her biggest fear had always been separating the children from loved ones back in the UK. With Maddie and Oliver looked after by a childminder, Chris and Gemma settled down to watch messages from home. Would hearing from loved ones prove too heartbreaking to bear?
They're a really cute family. Gemma and Chris are brilliant together, they really work, and the kids are just adorable.
I always said that if I could pick anybody for my Gemma, it would be Chris. He seems to be the perfect husband for her.
She's just a real diamond, she's a fantastic mom. She does everything for everybody.
It'll leave a big hole in our lives if they decide to move to Australia, and that will be a hard thing to fill.
Missing the kids growing up is going to be gut-wrenching. Look, they're cutting them out of our lives, but, you know, cutting us out of theirs as well.
I'll be coming out to see you when I can. I just think it'll just be mad she won't be there.
All you need to know is whatever you decide to do, we'll support you. We're right behind you 100%.
I hope you make the right decision. And whatever you decide, I can't, I'm sorry.
I feel at the moment like my heart is being wrenched out. But as a family, they have to do what's right for them.
Oh, you poor mum.
I know.
She couldn't even speak, could she?
It is a long way, isn't it?
The couple faced a heartbreaking choice. While Australia could offer plenty of gains, it would mean causing upset at home.
If we were to move over here, it would be really, really tough. You know, we'd be completely on our own, very isolated, no family, no support, no friends.
Our future could potentially be amazing for the four of us, but the fact that we wouldn't have anybody to share it with would be hard.
The week has been really positive, but there's still massive risks, I think, of moving over here. And that's what we've got to sort of work out what's right, really, whether it's worth making that big risk to have the, you know, the environment and the lifestyle that's, you know, calling over here, or whether it's better to be safe, you know, and just stay where you are.
It was time to face the final vote. Had the trial week been enough to convince Chris to put aside his doubts about a move? And would the prospect of a new life down under be enough for Gemma to sacrifice everything she knew and loved in the UK?
Australia!
Which will surprise me.
I'm so pleased.
it shocked me, but the more I do think about it, the more I think, yeah, let's give it a go.
You just don't want to look back in 10 years and wish we'd have done it.
I think we'll regret it if we don't.
Yeah.
After an emotional whirlwind of a week for the Randalls, they came out the other side convinced Australia was the right place to bring up their family and achieve the time together they desperately wanted. So, 2 years on, have the Randalls made it to the other side of the world? It's May 2015 and the Randalls are living in the UK. Their time in Australia 2 years ago brought home to both Gemma and Chris just how difficult life had become in the UK.
The week that we spent in Adelaide just proved to us how much time we hadn't spent together for such a long time.
It really hit us hard, really, in terms of how different things were, or how different things could be.
After arriving home from their trial week, the couple were convinced their family's future lay down under.
Of course the answer was yes, and yes, we chose Australia, you know, at the time.
The country had won their hearts and they were determined to make the move.
We obviously made that decision when we was on the show and on the programme at the end, and we was dead set about moving to Australia, really looking forward to prospects of moving abroad.
The couple began to put plans in place.
We spoke to a company and you'd gone through all the details with her, hadn't you, of what we needed to do.
But doubt soon surfaced as the cost of the family's dream life mounted.
The visas would have been about £6,000. We've then got the shipping, that would have been, was it 3,000 or 4,000?
Pretty much, I think, with everything.
Yeah. The flights was 6,000, between 5,000 and 6,000. Then we'd have had to have rented for a little while.
We wanted to put money aside for at least 6 months, really, to be able to get by. And the total amount that we were looking at, really, once we did everything together, was between, well, it was about £30,000, really, which was obviously a lot of money.
At that point, I think both of us, without telling each other, had probably started to think, you know, there are a few cracks now in our, you know, what we were hoping to be a perfect and seamless move.
Gemma and Chris went through an agonising period debating the pros and cons of a move.
Those sort of first 3 or 4 months back after Australia was really difficult, actually. Ultimately, we just couldn't make a decision about as to whether we was going to go or not.
We got the pack out and all the paperwork every week for about 6 weeks, just to try to make the figures work and to see if we could take a bit off him and put a bit here.
We'd be on the high saying, yeah, we've got the solution, we're definitely going to be moving, and then the next day you think, oh no, that's probably not going to work, actually.
Their dilemma was all-consuming.
We went backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. Every time I woke up, I'd think about it. Every time I went to sleep, I'd think about it. It was awful, wasn't it? It was very stressful.
After months of uncertainty, the couple knew they needed to decide once and for all where their future lay.
It got to January when the programme was on. I think that day we literally watched it about 4 times, the programme. And we sat down on the night and I said to you, didn't I, that's it, we've got to make a decision.
The paperwork was brought out one last time.
We did like a pros and cons list again. And I think that's when we came to the decision that actually it was a no.
It was a massive shock, really, I think, and it was a big disappointment.
It was a very hard decision because your head's saying one thing and your heart's saying another thing.
Gemma was dead set, I was dead set about going. When it kind of hits home that you might not be able to do it, then it does hit you pretty hard, really.
But with a decision finally made, Gemma and Chris resolved to transform their lives in the UK.
was a massive weight off both of our shoulders, and it was a bit of closure on the whole situation that we could say, right, well, we can get on with our lives a bit more now.
We could finally start moving forward with everything, start building a life in the UK, start implementing changes that are going to make our lives better.
The first thing that needed to change was Gemma's job. Prior to their trial week down under, her hectic work schedule had left no time for family life.
Before we went to Australia, my job was a beauty therapist, which meant I wasn't around a lot.
She was travelling an hour to work and an hour back from work. The pay wasn't the greatest, so she was having to top up her wages by working from home. She was doing that on the evening, so she was doing, you know, sort of really long hours of a day.
I loved my job, however, the restrictions that it brought to the family and to the children meant that I was never able to see them. You can't put into words how, as a mum, that makes you feel.
Gemma now works as an admin assistant in a radiotherapy centre, a career change that's come with countless benefits.
I'm absolutely loving my new job, just 9 to 5, so it means I can get to take the children to school and I can pick them up afterwards as well, which is really good. I work with a great team of people as well, rather than on my own, so that's another plus. I work 5 minutes down the road, I'm only working 3 days a week, but still being able to bring in the income and maybe a little bit more allows us to do great things at the weekends together.
To see the change from before Australia to now, and in such a short period of time, we're only talking, you know, about 18 months or so, the change in her is just immense, really.
While Gemma's enjoying being a mum again, Chris has also taken steps to spend more time at home.
I'm trying to cut down where I can, you know, just to make sure that I'm back earlier. I get back now, and because Gemma's at home, she sorted out all the kids with their dinner and everything, so I get a bit of the quality time really before they go to bed, which is great. So from that perspective, things have improved massively as well.
The family have packed their newfound free time with plenty of activities, which has gone down well with Maddie and Oliver.
Since we came back from Australia, I got to do horse riding, Oliver got to do football, and then I got to do swimming and gymnastics. And I did. Yeah.
Coming to watch Maddie as a family would not have been an option before.
She'll sit on the end of a bed now,
Practising
like a trotting
trotting.
and then a cantering, so she's really got into it, hasn't she?
Certainly not a cheap hobby to have, and we can provide that for them now, and we don't necessarily have to be in the other side of the world to be able to do that.
It makes me feel brilliant, really, that we just got that much more time together. It's had a big impact on the kids and on us. It makes us happier as a family. It's fantastic.
And Maddie's on the same page as Mum and Dad.
I'm really happy that I get to stay here because I get to do lots of things more often. And because I get to see Mum and Daddy more.
It's not just family life that's improved. Gemma and Chris have worked hard to develop their social circle as well.
That was something we didn't really want to do in case we were going to go. We didn't want to have more ties to leave. But now we really feel part of the community. We've got some fantastic friends and life is really good in the UK. It was definitely the right decision.
Money set aside for a potential move has now been put towards home improvements.
We've been here, is it 6 years now, and we didn't really do anything to the house.
Now we know we're not going, we can really, really make those roots that we want.
We want to make it more of a home now rather than just a house.
Recently put some French doors in, so we've made the dining room area a playroom for the kids, which is brilliant. You can put all the kids' toys in there now, which is really good. This will be the next room to be decorated, so I'm having everything taken out, some new settees, new carpet, so I'm really looking forward to this room being done now. We've got some pictures up. We didn't have any pictures up in here before because We didn't know if we were staying or going, so it's really nice now that people can walk in and it actually feels like a home rather than just a house. We've done so much to the kitchen. We've had everything new, which is so exciting. I love it in here now. It's really nice. It's like the hub of the home. We've got a lot of Australia up there as well, so it's so nice to have those memories around us. Just reminds us of how far we've come in the last 2 years.
Leaving family behind had always been a huge issue while the couple were contemplating a move down under. But their decision to stay in the UK was greeted with some mixed reactions.
In between us going and the show being on the TV, my mum and dad actually went to Australia themselves and did some travelling for a month, and they came back and they said, I can't believe you're not going. I think you're making the worst decision of your life, I think you need to go. That was quite strange, really, a bit sort of surreal, because I was expecting them to be over the moon with us stopping.
Gemma's mum, though, saw the family's decision differently.
She was so relieved. She was almost glad then that we'd gone on the show, because she said, you've had that experience, you've got it out of your system now.
I wouldn't have stopped them, you know, it would have been nice for them to go and experience it, but I'm just glad that they have decided to stay. We've become a lot closer, haven't we? It's brought us together more.
The experience of going to Australia and then coming back has made us, I think, all realise how important family is.
Yes, because it makes you realise what you're going to lose.
And despite their initial reaction, Chris knows his parents feel the same.
I think my mum and dad are shocked that we haven't gone, but at the same time they're really excited that we've stayed.
I am happy that we made our decision to stay in the UK, and I'm even more happy now, looking 2 years on, that Maddie and Oliver have got those bonds with their grandparents and that we weren't responsible for breaking those bonds.
Gemma and Chris have no regrets about their week down under.
We did need to go on the show because I think without doing that, I don't think we would have seen the lifestyle that we could have had.
Australia showed us the changes that we needed to make.
So, has the Aussie dream bitten the dust forever?
I wouldn't say Australia was 100% off the cards.
I don't think it'll ever be off the card.
I wouldn't say that we're never going to go, but for the foreseeable future, our home is going to be in the UK. We've got lots to look forward to in the future. We've got a house that we really want. The children are happy.
I don't regret anything, and I don't think there's any doubts in our mind that we've made the right decision to stay now.
I'm not going to say that in 10 years' time I'm not going to regret not going to Australia, but at the moment we're happy and life's really good.
In the end, Gemma and Chris have decided home is where the heart is, but they've worked hard to transform their lives and have finally got the time together they so badly needed, with the added benefit of still having loved ones nearby. We hope the Randalls' future's a very happy one.
Buckle up, we're all going on a seaside holiday of my lifetime this afternoon. Len Goodman is meeting up with former politician and author Edwina Currie, taking her en route to childhood memories of Bournemouth, later on BBC One at 3:45. Next, fraudsters caught in the act on Claimed and Shamed.